on YouTube. Let's see if it logs. If it tracks on the tube. It tracks on the tube. It's public. Oh, shoot. Yep, I see us on the YouTube. I don't have my hat. T, hold it down. I'll be right back. Don't use up all your energy. I'm gonna grab my hat.
Hydrate.
I need my hat.
Hydrate. Hydrate. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, hey, hey. Yep. All right. So, we gathered an empty chair here today to talk about some serious stuff. We're trying to figure out why we drive on parkways and park on driveways. So, Mr. Chair, what do you think about all that? And this isn't, I don't know what the title is, but it's not, this isn't practice.
T, can you hear my charger in the background going ching?
Is that what that was? No, I can't hear. I mean, I can't hear it, but that ain't saying much. So.
Okay, cool. I think we're good then. I think we're cool. What's up, Pat? Hey, Barnsdale. Is that the Sploosy? Yeah, it is the Sploosy. Sploose dirt.
Happy affiliate anniversary.
Yo, did you see that? Yo, Cobalt, thank you. Appreciate it.
Speech.
I've been here for what? 11, 12 years? We still here.
Hell.
Thank you, Barnsdale. It's not my birthday, though.
Not that it matters.
If anything, this is solid. This is solid as 2 affiliate anniversary. Like Alex on the Water is only like 2 years old, a year old, something like that. What happened, T? What'd you say?
Your title on Twitch is Kayak Adventure Series Practice.
So there was one button I didn't press, and it was done. So now it has been updated.
There it is. All right.
Yeah, there was one. Literally, there was one button that wasn't pressed, and it literally was done. But I do have to switch this to podcast. Yeah, I messed up. Listen.
Is there anything I learned at my internship at NASA? Is that it only takes one button.
One button. Yo, don't let the intern touch none of those buttons. Not one of them. Yeah, intern should not be pushing any buttons. He should be watching buttons press.
A lot of life lessons coming. So that's that. Okay. We'll let some folks trickle in. I guess we got to figure out. My favorite part of this whole process is kind of just winging it.
Nah, we got this. Let's start it off. That Bassmaster concluded, man. That river was rivering. What were your thoughts on that one?
Oh man, I think they'll be back soon.
Very soon.
Which I think is a good idea because there's a lot of stuff going on in this corner of the world. And Elizabeth City probably benefited from the tourism. They're going to have a lot of people going there to fish, which is great because maybe they'll leave me alone. And there's a couple content creators that I interact with just kind of behind the scenes. Dudley G is saying he can't hear me on YouTube. Am I hearable?
I see all the things going up. My bad, Rick.
Let me know. I communicated. I had somebody reach out to me and to get some predictions for I have no reason why, but I guess just because I was close enough. And my estimation was that it's possible to get 100 pounds or more.
Yep.
And thankfully, it did happen. Um, Only for obviously Welcher himself, which won it. So I mean, that's just yeah. I mean, like he figured out what it is, but so I mean, that's just
I can hear him,
that's
Greg. Make sure you don't have YouTube muted. I clicked over on YouTube and I heard him.
you got.
He's on the
I
soft
can't hear
side.
any snare in my headphones.
Uh oh. Uh oh. T about to hit it. He has
Nah.
to.
But yeah. So I think
There you guys go. I
no.
increased Discord.
There it is. Everybody come in. Let's again. We're losing sponsors by the day. Um,
Soft time going.
yeah. So that's. I mean, I'm glad to see a bunch of people out of their comfort zone uh, come in, do the damn thing. A lot of people showed up, from my understanding. I wanted to go, but things prevented that from happening.
Uh huh.
But I do know some folks that went. They took pictures. Actually, uh, a good uh, a good source of at least around here local information and experience. He was down there. One of the pictures on the behind the scenes at the weigh-in on the Bassmaster website was him and his kids. So that was kind of cool.
Oh man,
Um,
that's fire.
so we got some local representation, which is nice. I'm still not renewing my membership to BASS, so they're gonna have to keep on keeping on. But it was nice, man. A lot of people trying to struggle, a lot of struggle to pronounce Pasquotank.
Yo,
Uh,
struggle for Pasquotank and struggle when that wind came through the sound. Big struggle for anybody trying to run open water with that wind that they face.
no, I mean it's deceptive, right? It's deceptive. I know people were breaking boats,
So many
equipment. Um, so the
boats were
local
going.
shops got some business. I mean, it's unforgiving. I mean, that's why it's not full of people all the time because it only takes a good gust, and it's a
Got
problem for a lot of folks.
toasted, toasted. But yeah, I was thoroughly impressed that Welcher was able to do it within what 5 miles of launch for all 5 days. Like the man did not leave. He just stayed with those little retreads and worked them. They can't really go too far, especially with the wind the way it was. They were going to hold tight for that whole weekend. He definitely made good with that bag. I was thoroughly impressed. Thoroughly impressed.
I feel like most of the dudes in the top 10 weren't running very far.
Nope.
In a place like that, the more time you have, the better.
Facts.
So
I
the
agree.
less amount of time you're spending behind the wheel, you're putting more opportunity to actually win the damn thing. And that kind of, I mean, that's what happened. And that's gonna get taken into consideration, right? So, I mean, if they have some more big banner events down there anytime soon, which I feel is likely, they're not running.
Nope.
So it's kind of interesting how all that works out. But
I think somebody else is going to find some more juice. Eventually, it's going to be a little bit more things known or found out and retries for a lot of anglers.
that, and they're going to have to learn how to deal with that kind of stuff. I mean, cool, live sonar is great. I get that. But how many times and how many interviews I heard where everybody's like, I've never been here. I didn't know this place existed. I've never been to a place like this before. Um, and I'm glad they felt my pain for once. A lot of places up here that are very, very, they look the same. They smell the same. Um, it's one of those type of deals that you just don't, until you're there, you just don't know what it's like. And I know a
Facts.
lot of folks can say that, but this is one of those things, especially now that we got 100, a new Century Club, and apparently was the largest winning gap ever.
Yeah, 47 and 8 ounces, I think it was. Yeah, he had a large lead.
So good stuff.
Large lead. Yep, I thoroughly enjoyed it. What was it? Well, I didn't even know what his winning bait was. Was he? Oh yeah, the Bronco bug, dude, just slinging a Bronco bug. Yo, Crest City, Red Crest, and then this man. You talk about Rapala promos and everybody throwing out in the last 2 weeks of dang fishing, man. Dang, must suck to suck. Must suck to suck. All right, so I think we warmed everybody up. Hopefully, y'all had a great weekend, great week. Welcome everybody. This is episode 8 of Hooksets Are Free with Alex and T. Man, oh man. What we got? The game has changed. You know what's crazy? Latimer just put out like a video on. Yeah, I was like, "Dang, T, why you going after Brian?" But now we talking about some other stuff. Are you trying to get everybody dizzy on the plaid? What you doing?
Maybe. No, I have no circulation below my waist, so it kind of sucks. No. So we're good at, because this is the thing. There's the reason. So this came up because there's a lot of this. So the topics we kind of just go with the flow, but there's certain things that I think need to be said, and we'll put it out there just so we don't have to ever talk about it again. But I do think it's great that Mr. Latimer did put out a clip that talked about this. I mean, a lot of people have been putting out this past like 6 months or so. There's been a lot of reality checking going on.
Big reality
the casual
checks.
level as well as the professional level.
Yep.
We're gonna put some. I'd like to put some words on that tonight, and definitely encourage folks that are watching to share in the chat some of the stuff that they're seeing as well, because it is important to remember that the only reason, not the only reason, but the primary reason a lot of these companies that we buy from and these tours that we watch and we talk about, just like we already have tonight, a lot of the reason that they exist is because of people like us spending our time, our money, all the things that come along with, because we try to share a common hobby.
Yep.
For some people it's a paycheck, for other people it's to help them tolerate what it takes for them to get a paycheck, and so we're all in this together, and we need to be at least some level of understanding, I think, at least to reduce the likelihood of growing frustrated with something that we're supposed to enjoy, when there's so much crap in the world that can distract and be a problem. So we'll get to that. For those, nobody asked, of course, but we might as well. It's one of those types of situations.
Yeah.
But we were talking earlier before we went live on Feet Finder here. So you were practicing today?
Yeah, I was up in Virginia, pretty much just north of South Boston, right under Farmville, fishing Briary Creek, and then I went down to Nutbush launch on Bugs Island.
Quite the contrast of location. Those places do not fish similarly.
Not even close. No, I almost got spooled by a striper. I almost got fully spooled.
That absolutely happened.
I was letting that dude run until I started seeing the green on my braids, start seeing the gold backing from the reel. I'm sitting there like, turn the drag, hold that thing, hold tight, please don't break. Breaks, it just goes. Yeah, he broke the hook. He broke our hook, so it was good. But I mean, it was a good fish. They're landlocked. They can take the rowing hook all the way out, but I don't think they're going to live a life for that.
They're not built for city.
For Ocean City, yeah.
Not even Ocean City, like Maryland.
not even Ocean City. The blue crab's going to take their money before they get out of this.
It's like wrong.
Before they get out the harbor.
Jangling change and walking.
Yeah.
Not gonna work.
Yeah, no. So that was fun. I got bit by one bass at Nutbush, and that was it. I missed that hook set, but Briary Creek was. There's some big ones in there. I was watching them on scope. There's some quality fish in there. So I'm marking it right now as my plan B. But I gotta go check out Heiko tomorrow, and what's the other place? After Bay Reservoir, right above Heiko. So I gotta check those two tomorrow. Country stripers, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Like Amish stripers. They don't know. They don't know nothing about
Damn.
that. They don't know nothing about everything outside of that dang lake. They're isolated. But it was fun. The drive was trash. I'm sorry. The drive was good. It was just long. There was no traffic until I got back to North Carolina, and it was smooth. Like it was good. Last week I went up there last Monday. Me and a teammate to go check out some stuff. Stopped over at Bobcats, and then we went over to Carolina Sports and Tackle. That was fun. Really cool people. Really cool vibes. The guys at Carolina Sport and Tackle acted like they didn't even want to talk to us. But once we started talking to them, they kind of warmed up. It was kind of weird at first. I, I was like, why y'all so stoic faced and like real short with your words? Like we're just here to talk about fishing, and it's not like they had like crazy amount of business going around, so they could have talked to us. But it was like,
Thought you
yeah,
were cops.
bruh, at the tackle shop, narking out. Oh, I
Oh
see
yeah.
what you did because Dog Balls is here.
No, not at all.
Oh,
No,
okay.
but there is, FDA, not FDA, excuse me, not FDA,
Wow.
DEA.
FED.
Let's just say there's multiple things referred to as shine marks. Let's put it that way.
I like
Some
it.
are some are scheduled, some are not.
What's a lure trick? People skimping on
Around
those
the lure
tariffs.
market, yes.
Yeah, skipping on them tariffs coming from Japan.
It's like, wait a second.
The
We got some
underground Godzilla.
dice lures, but if you want to get the dice lures, you got to win a dice game.
Yep. Skimping on them tariffs coming out from Japan. I don't even think plastics are getting hit with the tariff yet. Are they? They might be. I wouldn't put it past it. I know metals are.
That's why I buy made in the USA soft plastics.
Yeah, that's very upstanding of you. But my
Zeus,
bait
made in the USA.
my bait casters, they need to sound like Japanese Hellcats.
If you put enough sand in the bearings, and
Like a DC reel.
like a DC,
Yo, that's wild. That's wild.
I'm
Oh,
speaking from a lot of experience that I know.
yeah. And not to throw like I'm a sidetrack us real quick. Not to throw us into a bad mood, but moment of silence for all of the incidents this weekend. Just give me like 20 seconds. All right, man. Thank you. Thank you. A lot of tragedy this weekend. Just throwing it out there in the fishing world. We're not going to talk on it. I just wanted to put it out there that, that shit sucks.
Yeah, so there's a lot of we won't again. Yeah, we're not going to go into it. It's been covered. People that know, and if you don't, just Google. Uh, there will be changes in the system as a result. Whenever stuff like this happens, there has to be some type of change.
Yep.
So we will see what comes out of that. It's always a reminder. You gotta be safe. I mean, we joke about it. I'm fucking wearing safety glasses now still, but like the top priority at all times,
Safety.
regardless of how familiar or not you are with your surroundings, your equipment. It does not take a lot of time to just check your stuff, your surroundings. I know everybody's got a camera either on or on them at all times on the water, pretty much, and that's great because you can document things. But being proactive about everything does help, and it helps you go home. Because remember, we're supposed to be doing a lot of this because it's fun. And significant injuries, issues, property damage, anything along those lines, not fun. You talk about Briary, and I've been there a few times. I mean, for those that don't know Briary Creek here in Virginia, it's a flooded forest, and I'm not joking.
Really?
And I had mentioned this on one of the first episodes. We went out there with our boat for the first time and got stuck on a tree. And there's that's not a place where people are running wide open unless they just really want to get hurt or break their equipment. Lower units will be salvaged The bottom of that lake is probably just lower units and turtles. Um, it's just one of those kind of things, man. So it's it's like it, not everywhere, and I'm the kind, I don't go to a lot of places, at least in the kayak, where there's a lot of boat traffic for various reasons. But there's a lot of people that are all trying to do the same thing, share a lot of the water. We talk shit about people that are skiing or wakeboarding. They talk shit about us. Like there's no common ground.
Facts.
The lowest common denominator is the fact that we're all on the water, and it's just you gotta just think, folks.
Yep.
You just think. I ask you just to be alert, and you can probably save yourself from a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas. Because there's unfortunately folks that don't have that opportunity, and it's important to remember that.
Facts. 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 I like that. All right. So the game has changed. Brian Latimer, T. What we want to talk about? The passing of the old guard that can't type on computers, can't look at screens.
I mean, okay, so I guess where we'll just open this up, and this is more of a free flow, so everybody feel free to jump in, and we can go from there. But the biggest kind of the topic, the discussion piece that we see a lot. When I say see a lot, you're talking like comment sections on social media, tackle shop talk, boat ramp talk. The stuff that you're just kind of like, think of it like water cooler talk, but we're not, in the office or out in the world and doing stuff. This idea that old school fishing or traditional, whatever you want to call it, the thing that a lot of people that are out there today that are still supposed to be enjoying it are saying that not just the game has changed, but like everything, like it's just not the way it used to be. And change is difficult for a lot of folks. And the passing of the guard, the paradigm shift, whatever you want to call it, there's a lot of fancy words that basically boil down to saying that everything is no longer what folks fell in love with the sport, the hobby, whatever you want to call it. And then that becomes the topic.
Yep.
Is that true? Is it not true? So I've got feedback. I've got opinions. I'll share some of them. Of course, Alex can share some of his. The folks that are here, feel free. But that's kind of where we're at.
Yep.
Did you want to? What are your? Let me hear, because I've got
I got it.
Talk in my head. What do you got going on, or what are your thoughts on that idea?
Change always hurts, especially in purist style sports. Especially if it has a background of a certain culture. I would just say a certain culture, because I don't want to get it into the segregation time when sports came in and then we started having integration. It wasn't very nice. History shows it was a shitty time. People had a lot of things to say. Eventually, everything worked out and sports went back to sports to an extent. So when we start talking about how the older generation or generations prior to, especially fishing, feel about the newer crowd, the newer technology coming in, the first thing I always think about the integration. It's everybody, and not saying an integration in like just racial sense, just integration to anything new coming into a sport that has lasted for a certain amount of time, that has a mindset of, I'll say the air quote purist, like Dogball said, a purist mindset. I think we lose and start dismissing the small things that got us to this argument. So with the plastics that we're throwing, the electronics that we're using, there were small steps and probably big leaps technically that changed this over time to where we are. So looking at how the minnow has reintroduced itself back, and like we always say, back in 92, the banjo minnow down in Florida became a thing. That was huge, but it wasn't. Why wasn't that talked about like scope minnow that's been out? Is it because social media, or is it because it was on TV, so on and so forth? But then we look at I know we were talking about the chatterbait on my stream a couple of days ago. You can definitely see how the guys that were strictly swim jigs still work the same way, but then you have new guys that don't have to flip into into the same kind of greenery that you would throw a swim jig in. You just throw it on the outside of it, and it'll attract them to come and eat it. So we saw these small little changes to the point where now we're starting to see the separation. The gap has actually shown itself, and now we're seeing that the older group that just love to throw a Carolina rig lizard on a point and sat there all day and maybe got 5 bites versus the kid with the scope that's catching 40 fish but maybe just catching 3 good ones and 2 bad ones, or two small ones, and now we got something to talk about. Just integration change is rough for a lot of mindsets. I don't even want to say people. It's just a lot of mindsets aren't really dialed into the evolution of where they came from to how they got to where they are to be upset at. Because when they look back at, like, if we look at somebody complaining about looking at a screen all day or fishing with scope, and then we go back to when Kevin Van Dam in his highest point, my man was using undocumented off the chart hummingbird side scan that nobody had access to for about a year and a half. Like, what, until we found out that he was using hummingbird side scan, it was like, oh, okay, well, KBD's just whooping us. And now that it's been out, everybody's got side scan. Everybody says, now it's an even playing field. It wasn't an even playing field. KBD was still whooping ass. So the technological gap that he already had against his competition would be similar to what we're seeing right now with the technological gap we have with scopers and hopers. So I think it's a mute argument with the change of like how we're looking at the technology integration. I think more so the conversation just needs to be more about how or anglers adapting to integration and focusing on that rather than the point and blames. But yeah, the game is changing. Like everything a part of it is definitely changing. The way that the lures are being made, the way that our weights are. Shoot, the rods that were probably $300 10 years ago, and now we have them for like $99, $120. We can get some really good ones on sale for like $150. Like everything in this sport has evolved to a point where that quality is coming to the Joe Schmo. And now the no names or the unheard ofs are showing up to show out. And then the education of fishing, the game. I mean, how much throughout my whole life I've never had. I would say in the last 6 years, the amount of fishing information that I could digest and learn from. So, going back to like how we're talking about integration and the new class or the new guard coming in against the old guard, like these kids they probably got like the tablet next to them while they're eating Wheaties before they get on a bus and just soaking in bass fishing. And we all know when you're at that age where that's all you can think of, you're just absorbing like sugar and Nico rigs. At that point, you can't think of nothing else. Like you're locked in. You can't beat a kid focused with sugar. You can't. There's no way you can ever match that type of locked in mode. Like if they have to, if they really like fishing and they're like super locked into it, man, there's no way. There's no way that they're not going to try to get to the highest level and do the great things that most bass anglers are getting accolades for now. So, but yeah, that was my rant on the game exchange. Is where I'm thoroughly enjoying this. We're post Renaissance, I would say. After COVID, I'm loving this post Renaissance of bass fishing, where we're seeing the boom of the industry, everybody getting out wanting to fish. But now we're seeing, now that we've plateaued, who's left, who can still do what they want to do and be proficient at it. Because looking at Bass Pro, and I mean, you look at a couple of names they've been pushing in the last 2 or 3 years. They're slowly starting to fall off. And that could also be either to the social media aspect of them talking crap behind the scenes. It could also be their tournament presence and standings. But for the most part, a lot of names that Bassmaster held at a high standard or were promoting like individually, they have fallen like off the earth. I don't want to throw names out, but if you look back at your Bassmaster magazines or articles for 3 years ago, you'll see a repeating bunch of names, and then look at it now. They've strictly fallen off, and it's I don't know. There's a lot of factors. Same thing on the MLF side, but a lot of that goes with all the changes in the back end with MLF, because a lot of people jumped ship when that new ruling came out for who gets to stay and who gets to go after each season based off of your points. So, but yeah, that's my rant. It's we're at a good time for the thought process of the the old mindset to what we have now with current. So I think we're going to start seeing a lot of anglers, if not this year, next year, understand like either you put up or shut up. Like you're everybody, you're done crying. Like you've cried for 2 years, and the same names are still 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5s. So either you, you shut up, or you like you got to perform. Yeah.
The road. Damn it.
What we got? Pat said, "Man, if we had the access today, back when I was growing up, I'll be a pro now." Yeah, yeah, I agree with the information and the not Scott Martin information. Definitely, like with what we have now and access to on the internet, is it's stupid. Can't use aluminum bat in ML. Yes, you can't use that. Hard to keep up what you want. Yeah, text always advanced. Yeah, yeah. You guys are hitting it. What about you, T? What do you got for game changing?
All right. Um, I'm going to pose the idea that the game itself has never changed. The
Oh,
way that somebody engages with the game has had to change. And
I like him.
I'll back that up. That's a claim, so let's evidence it. Okay. There was I'm going to kind of jump around for a little bit, so bear with me. There was a time, let's say like, well, first, if the whole objective is to go out and just have fun, catch fish. Okay. Fish don't care about what you have, where you bought it, how much you paid, what's trendy, what's not. You can go out with a cane pole and some thread and a primitive hook, and you can go catch something that swims. So we don't have to make it any more complicated than that.
Nice.
And you can achieve the desired end result. So that in itself is what I consider to be the game. But there's no way that somebody can engage in that nowadays. If you're going to start out, like, that natural progression is just going to, it is what it is. And, the information is there. I remember going to the library in the 90s and renting, books and learning these things, like looking at knot diagrams and pictures of fish so I can identify them.
Yep.
Um, and now, kids got smartphones; they can look up everything, and it's a different level of engagement. Fish Brain's a thing. All the different apps. Everybody's pushing apps. There's like 30 apps now about how to choose, what to throw, when to throw it, all that kind of stuff. Everybody's pushing them. They're endorsed by whoever. Great. Sure, the game's the same, but the way that you're engaging in it is not. Back in my day, professionals were heroes. When I
Yep.
say that, like, you look forward to hearing the interview on ESPN during the Bassmaster show on Saturday, or watching, the Bill Dances and the Jimmy Houstons and the Roland Martins and the Al Linders, all that kind of stuff, right? Like, I've got VHS tapes in this garage I'm sitting in of when I taped Bill Dance, Larry Nixon TV shows, because I wanted to go back and take notes and like learn and have that information available just so I can try to apply it and see what works and what doesn't. Because it was interesting, it was engaging, it was rewarding. So at some point, that didn't become, and I don't know when, I kind of disconnected from fishing for a long time. In fact, I credit watching live stream on, specifically Twitch with a lot of the folks. Like, I didn't even know people were fishing live. Like, it just blew my mind. Like, what the hell is all this about? We're talking like 2017, 2018 when I even like found out it was a thing. Um, and that reignited a lot of things, thankfully. But the point being is like it made it very like the idea that you could watch and interact and all that kind of stuff is very exciting. Like this would be neat to try to get into. Um, it turned it into much more of like a lot of options. It's option overload. But I will say one of the really big kind of like shift things for me, from my understanding, as I'm a fan, right? Like I'm not a professional, I won't be, and that's okay. But I do pay attention to what they are doing and what they're promoting and how they're educating, and all that kind of stuff. Boyd Duckett, and everybody probably knows Boyd Duckett. He's a big part of MLF, and he's got a very interesting history of management of that organization. Let's say, um, he did an interview with Bass Talk Live on YouTube. This was like a year or two ago when they were talking a lot about like entry fees and various fees and their five fish versus catch weigh release and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, he said something that I didn't take into consideration until I really thought about what he said. And it was talking about the people that were and were not going to be able to stay on the Bass Pro Tour. Because we're coming to it from a perspective of like it's performance based. Like you get the results, you get the points, or you don't stay in. And the interviewer, Matt Pragnac, I think is how you say his name. Anyways, he asked him a question about like how are you deciding who's going to be on what level of the tour. And in a roundabout way, he talked about how the brands, that's the word, brand. People that have a certain type or size of brand were considered more attractive to the tours. Why? Because the branding is what brings the people. Back in like the 90s, early 2000s, it was the person, it was the name, it was the logo, it was that whole image that brought people to the weigh-ins, because there was no live coverage. If you wanted to see your favorite person, the person you wanted to win, you saw them when they launched and you saw them when they weighed. There was no YouTube. There was no social media. So you wanted to engage with them. You read the magazines, you watched the show snippets, or you saw the promotions at the tackle shop, because that's your engagement. But now everything's accessible all the time. And that switched over to everybody now having brands. So from a marketing aspect, the brand brings the people bring the money allows things to survive. I will say, interestingly enough, well, y'all probably know this, but Jacob Fouts, who was on the Elite Series, put out a video. I think it was last year or the year before. I don't remember, because
it was last year, coming into this year.
He talked about how he grew up. He's a little younger than us, but I mean, he's not like a kid, but I mean, he's experienced, right? So he came up through like the college fishing and
opens. Yep.
Like the dude, he studied. He's got a very interesting outlook on things. But he came up. He got his spot through winning. His performance got him to where he's at. So he puts out a video, and it's probably still up.
It's still, it's probably one of his most viral videos.
Yes, a lot of people didn't know who he was until it came out, where he essentially said, in so many words, he did like a vlog style. He's sitting in his boat, I think, in like his driveway, and basically said, like, this is not what I thought it was. And what he meant by that is like struggling. Like you bust ass to get to that level, the highest level of what we consider to be in like the professional ranks. And he's like, the sponsors are barely offering any level of support. The payouts are horrible compared to what they were, which is true. I mean, there used to be like 150, 200,000 checks, and this is the 90s. And they've gone lower. What? No, inflation's gone up, cost of living's gone up, but the prizes have gone lower.
Yes, sir. And the entrance of Bass has gone up, way up.
Yes. So it's a club, it's a rich guy's club, but like you can't even be a part of it until you bust ass. So he's basically saying like, I can barely afford to live, to do this as a profession that I worked so hard to get to. My sponsors aren't helping me as much as I thought they should or could. And in fact, the backlash of that whole video he put out, he lost sponsors.
He lost 2 out of 5 of his sponsors.
I know one of them was Arc Fishing Rod.
Yep.
The other one was. Yep. But they dropped them. They're like, we don't. Basically, they're saying you're talking shit about us, so we're not renewing your pro contract.
Yep.
And all the dude was saying is how frustrated he was with the fact that what he worked so hard to get to did not live up to its expectations.
Exactly.
Not because he didn't enjoy doing what it takes, not that he doesn't like doing the sport, not that he doesn't like, people that he's on the tour with. just
Nope.
was like, this isn't at all what I
Yeah.
want. So imagine dedicating so much time and energy in early mornings, you know, dropping the boat in the water, thinking one day I'm going to make it to where I want to be, just to get there and find out, like, holy shit, I can barely survive financially. I'm always on the road, so my relationships are struggling. The sponsors, the people whose logo I put on my boat and my clothes are kind of like, they're not there
Yep.
unless, there's an issue. Um, I mean, it's got to be extremely deflating. But remember, it's not necessarily about the individual; it's their brand.
Brand. He definitely falls back on that because he realized his fault in that whole situation was he was so focused on busting everybody's ass and fishing. He legitimately did not want to sit in front of a camera and do all of the stuff that it required to make that brand. And I felt so bad for him because he was outside, he was inside, but he was outside looking in to the evolution of what you needed to actually survive in that sport. Like, I mean, comparatively to like the NASCAR of the 90s, you win one race, you win Talladega, you're set for like the next 2 years on sponsors, commercials, promos, so on and so forth. You look at basketball in the 90s, if you win a championship, how many sport contracts are coming your way? And if you look at Bassmaster back in the day, you win a classic, dude, you're cloud nine for a year and a half until the next classic. Like, and it seemed that mindset, and he is younger than us, but I'm pretty sure he felt that same feeling that I'm talking about, like that 90s revolution of winners. You see winners more than you'll see losers. So as long as you're winning, nobody cares. But now he's starting to see, like, it. I'm not saying that the people that are doing better than him are losers, but he's seeing that people that weren't as successful as him are surviving a lot easier because they're sitting in front of a camera even after they lose. Come in like what's the cut line, like 50, 40 something, coming in out of the cut line, nothing, sitting in front of their phone doing a video, or in front of their GoPro doing a video, smiling and shaking hands and kissing babies, and then looking at them at the next tournament just rolling in, gas tank full, boats wrapped up, cleaner than Christmas presents. They're like they I don't know. That's a hard pill to swallow, and he definitely swallowed it on camera. And I mean, in his defense, if he needed a spark for his brand, that video was it. That video set him on a trajectory to be known and to talk to sponsors without the deal's already done. Like, you know what I mean? He said what he had and how they left him, but when he talks to any sponsors going forward, he knows and they know what is expected from their partnerships. So he set himself up for success with a failed, or an understanding of his failures.
Well, everybody likes the underdog story, right?
Big facts. Big facts.
If we're kind of tailoring to the emotions, which you have to,
Yeah, you have to tug them.
from a survival in a, because generally speaking, I mean, the brands that sponsor the tours don't thrive if people don't buy their stuff, and that's it. Um, and money talks, regardless. We know this, but I guess at least, like, when it became more important, your follower count was more than your trophy count.
Yep.
And I think that probably took place within the past 5 years or so. I think,
Yep.
my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And all this stuff with Scott Barton recently, and it's kind of like, he makes more money off of his social media presence than winnings easily, tenfold. So he doesn't need to. I get that, but then it's like, well, he wants to. Okay, well, you would assume everybody that's there. I forget the dude's name, but another dude last year off the Elite Series voluntarily stopped because, quite literally, he put out a video. I forget the dude's name.
Yeah.
Anyways, he put out a video saying, I ran out of fucking money.
Yep.
I cannot financially keep fishing. And he even added, in the wake of the Fouts stuff, he's like, my sponsors have been great. but I'm broke, so I can't keep going. How does that not like I mean they put a press release out, but I don't know why that wasn't a bigger issue
Mm-hmm.
because how can you seriously understand that these you can't just walk into that like that's one of if not considered the highest level of professional fishing and you got somebody that made their way there who said I cannot continue because I cannot afford it.
Yep.
What?
So I just wanted to segue from that. That was two. Those were two anglers, right? That have talked about finances right there, right? So we can assume this was already a monster under the bed for bass for a while, because we see what happened this year. They're floating on free money now. They're fishing for free, technically, air quote. So this conversation, these anglers that had came out and talked about it, I'm 100% sure this was already during their little unionized meetings that they had. They had to be talked about at some point, and I'm pretty sure Bass is tracking everybody's financials throughout this whole experience because I mean it's Bass, BASS. Like they have to know going into these events like how people are feeling or how these anglers are, and somebody has to be saying, "Yo, if I don't win this, I don't even know how I'm gonna get home." I'm pretty sure that's been said many times. Like those things had to be said. Like this isn't something that just came out and creeped up on them. I think this was definitely a situation where we saw a lot of the anglers have success talking about how they're not getting paid and how the winnings aren't enough, and it could have snowballed into something really bad if you started getting more than half of your anglers saying, "Yo, we ain't getting paid. We're not getting paid." It's a bad look. It would be a bad look for the organization at the end of the day. And I think that what they saw was a snowball storm coming if they didn't make those changes this year on entry fees and payouts. Like even though the payouts are trash comparatively, the anglers now that they're fishing for free to an extent, I think helps financially mindset. It takes a lot of that pressure off of sponsorship money coming in and maybe gives them more time to focus on this brand or creation of brands that they don't or do have. I don't know. Yep.
Well, I think for CETA, like, I mean, they have money, but they got a lot of these dudes got families. They may have businesses that they are not managing as well. And being on the road, I mean, just think about it, right? Like, I mean, yeah, they get help with their boats. Their gear is either sponsored. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of this stuff is the stuff that we don't deal with. We're not traveling, so they're talking about lodging and vehicle maintenance, and apparently boats are breaking down all the time just because that's just what happens. It's like they have it, but they lose it quick if they can't get it back. So if they're not winning, it's just like it's just negative, negative, negative.
Yeah,
So
red.
how many videos came out from the pros channels when everybody announced like the no entry fees where they busted out a freaking either piece of paper or Excel spreadsheet. They said, well, if you look at the numbers in order to break even, you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things. It's not just a matter of winning to make a profit. It's really just a matter of like winning to continue having a chance.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's a very different mindset, I think. And you'll find, especially like the big topic here in the past few months has been like cheating and rules and all that kind of stuff. It's been a huge thing that's came up, especially with some of the technology debates. The more people are likely to feel as though they're struggling and are in dire straits, or the risks are higher, I feel, the more likely people will look for loopholes. Cheating will go up when opportunities to thrive and succeed at that level go down. Or at least perceived to go down. So if you mean I don't get in at least this place for the next 3 tournaments, I'm not. It's not necessarily an integrity question. It's like, well, how bad do you want it? Brian put out a video about how cheating has been around forever.
Yep.
It's just it's a lot easier for it to come out now. But as far as like it's not like one day in the early '90s somebody said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go start getting some information. No, it's just kind of always people have been on some bullshit. I mean, we know about some, you hear about some, but like it's probably been a thing for way more. There's so much stuff. Like we probably don't even have the tip of the iceberg. It's probably the tip of the
Facts.
tip of the
To
iceberg.
iceberg. I agree. I'm
You know
pretty
how it
sure.
goes. We
Yeah.
won't know, and people have
Mm-hmm.
gone to great lengths to make sure that
Sure.
we don't
Facts.
know about
Yeah.
what's going on, especially at the professional level. Um,
You see
as far
whispers of
as
that. I'm sorry. You see
yeah,
whispers of that on the podcast. What's the Zaldane podcast? There's things they can and cannot talk about, but they hint. Yeah, they hint at so many under the rug scenarios that have happened throughout the career that he's been fishing since he's been in there, comparative to what the history of the cheating and scandals prior to that. It's crazy. But I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to say
no,
that.
you're good. Just bring some scissors next time. No. Well, so old dude brought up a good point. He talked about like passing of Forest Wood. So like FLW stuff, you know, that's going back to Forest Wood. Ray Scott recently passed away. He was at the helm. So it was like Forest Wood versus Ray Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both now passed. And I can't tell you how many boomer comments I see on like some of the YouTube stuff where somebody says, "Well, you know, Ray Scott's rolling in his grave at what's going on," all that kind of stuff. You know, these guys, you know, Forrest Wood, your Ray Scotts, like obviously they existed before the age of social media and internet and all that kind of stuff. These dudes had a vision of what they wanted to create. And their idea was if we make it like this, it will be successful because people will want to be a part of it.
Yep.
In other words, it attracted people because they said, you know, they're doing it right. Like freaking, was it Ray Scott was like, you have to have the BASS crest on you on your shirt at all times, to the point Matt Robertson got it tattooed on his arm so that way he could wear a sleeveless shirt at the Classic.
Yeah.
That was a requirement to have it somewhere, and like you couldn't be scruffy, you couldn't have long hair. Like, you had a freaking dress code for weigh-ins.
Couldn't have cigarette. Yep.
You can't have shorts. Like you can't have like, you know, retiree shorts. Like you gotta look the part. Like the vest with the sponsor patches. That's all because you had to look the part. Because when people saw you at the weigh-in at the launches, you were representing the organization. Your brand didn't exist. You were a gear in a larger machine that is a brand.
Yep.
So I brought up that brand thing from what Boyd said because, in my opinion, which who gives a shit, but the point is, that's when it shifted. When the brand became more valuable than the angler, him or herself, that's when the game never changed, but the marketability and the actual, like, you know, the profits or whatever you want to call it, the opportunity to make a living fishing had to change because it was no longer about the person. They are replaceable. Every single person on that roster could get told they're fired tomorrow. The next day they could have open tryouts or interviews for people to start on, and there would be thousands of people trying to get on. They are replaceable.
Facts.
Brands cannot be replaced. They can be gained, they can be lost, but they cannot be replaced. And as long as we're in a brand-centric mentality when it comes to who's the who of the top pros and the people that are getting the autographs and the people that are getting the deals, this is it. If you care about professional fishing, if you care about the brands and the promotion and the product development and all the trends that we see in the commercials that we all will be subjected to, we have to understand it is focused on brands, not on trophies. Any type of signature stuff. Like Skeet Reese announced he's retiring from professional fishing after this year. And he's going to focus on Reese Fishing, which is his brand that he's creating with his name, clearly. And he's been around for like 30 years or something like that, 40 years. Yeah. He's been around forever. He's won a lot of stuff. I mean, he's got a great resume. But, you know, somebody under the age of 20 has no friggin' idea who the hell Skeet Reese is. And I'm sure he's like, you know what, F it. And he says in his interview he wants to spend more time at home, and I get that. But he's focusing on his brand because that's what's important. What do y'all think? We're at 9:26. Y'all
almost
heard
at
us.
that. Yep. What do y'all gotta chime in? What boomer informations or what changes have changed for you guys? I guess segueing from like Brian Latimer's video, Like what are you guys seeing through your fishing as a child till now that has changed your landscape of fishing more so?
Or if you just got into it recently, like in the past 5 years, like let's say you're an adult and we're like, you know what,
I'm gonna
I
pick
want
up
to get into
fishing.
this. I can't even imagine what y'all are going through. I feel bad for y'all. Hell no.
No, that's too much information. That hurts. That hurts.
Well,
What's
yeah. So, yeah. I mean, back some of the early classics, they gave you it. Everybody had the same gear. You had the same
Yep.
boat.
Yeah, same boat.
And you were limited to like 10 pounds of tackle. They weighed how much tackle you were bringing in your boat, and you were
Yep.
limited on how much you could bring.
Yep. Yep. Similar to like the team tournaments MLF do, you get the MLF boats. I think at one point, I forgot what other events. Heavy hitters, they were all giving the same type of boat. So you had to,
Standardize it. Yeah.
yep, you had to go in the same boat. Gear wise, you can do whatever you want, but yeah, boat wise, you all were in the same vehicles.
And I will say, one of the few things and one of the reasons I have to stay away from certain videos right now, especially the comment section, is like all the talk about rules and the information rules and all this kind of stuff. The amount of people that are for some reason saying, well, how can the information thing be considered cheating if everybody's got like, you
Bruh,
know,
the
technology to where
technology,
you can
yeah,
see the fish live? And it's like, that's the problem. Everybody has it. But if you solicit information in order to have information that other people don't have for a competitive advantage, that is the problem. And the
yep.
fact that folks cannot connect the fucking neurons needed
You can't
to
explain it to them,
come to the
bro.
conclusion that when everybody has the technology, but not everybody has the knowledge, it's a problem. Well, you
Facts.
can't talk to people about fishing. Well, I thought about free speech. No, the free speech amendment means you can talk shit about the government and they don't kill your ass. But if you sign a contract for an employer, such as a professional fishing league, and they say you can't talk about this shit, then that's what you
That's what
agree
I have
to
to
when
read
you
to.
sign the thing.
Your freedom of
I just
speech is, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
It's
understand
well,
why it's so difficult for folks to just know what it is they're talking about. Then I got to remember where we're reading it. And I'm going to digress because my blood pressure is through the goddamn roof.
no.
It's a
I
problem.
I always have to. I always have to take a breath after those and realize the demographic of people that are typing this most likely are typing it on their phone with their thumb and getting auto corrected spell check throughout the whole thing. So at that point in time, I really have to step away from it.
I mean, it's opinions are fine. I'm not like there's nothing wrong with opinions, but when people are misconstruing the
For,
actual it's an
well,
objective. It's a very objective situation, and the
yeah,
subjective
objective. Yeah, that's
viewpoint.
what I said. You can't put that subjectiveness into this. There are hard cut rules, and your
Read the
thought process.
rules.
Your thought process does not equate to this rule right now. Like
So
you just can't.
Pat's going to help us get back in line, and
Okay,
also
yeah, yeah.
Banana. Pat's saying biggest change is a focus on kayak fishing. Um, yes, so kayak fishing, and don't get me wrong, the big purist don't give a shit about kayaks and will
Yeah.
blatantly just poop all over them. And it's more accessible, and I think that's why it attracts people because it's more relatable. There's not as much. I mean, there's still sponsors and all that kind of stuff, but like certain high profile. Some of the early big time fishing channels were kayak focused.
Yeah.
Before any of the boat pros really got heavy into it, the brands that we talk of, like people knew Fluke Master before Randy got on YouTube talking his bullshit. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of got it's starting to get a lot of that traction, which is very helpful. And again, people like the relatabilityness. Like they want to see the similarities between themselves and the people that are trying to like influence their decision making and their buying like trends. But like what Banana's talking about, he cares more about the person's brand and personality than the actual event or company brand, and that's the thing.
Yep.
And I think there's enough of the folks that are similar to where that is the driving force. And people will follow the individual
Yeah,
more than they'll follow the organization.
yeah. It's more relatable. It's easier to digest. Way easier to digest to follow the actual person than the crazy machine behind them. Way easier.
And I get it. I mean, I get it. And that's, I don't think it's an uncommon perspective. Uh, from if we're drawing parallels, like people will ask, because everybody's got like professional sports in general. People have a lot of team loyalty, right? Like they buy jerseys of their team, they rock flags of their team, they got bumper stickers of their team, and so people will ask me rarely, what's your team? I'm like, well, I don't have a team. I'm not really a fan of teams, but I like certain players, and I'll follow the players. Like I'm a big fan of Ken. I grew up playing baseball. I was a big fan of Ken Griffey Jr. And I didn't care if he was playing on the Reds or the Mariners. It wasn't a team thing. I just enjoyed the player. Like
Yep.
to me, so that was the brand, right? Like if I'm getting the jersey, I'm more about the name than the logo on the front. Um, and not everybody's like that. I get that, but fishing definitely wasn't like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Facts.
Now it is, and I don't think it'll ever go back. I don't think it's a problem. People ask the question. There's a lot of drama-based video content creators that talk about, is professional fishing dead? Is it done? Is it dying? No,
No.
it's not going anywhere. The people that are involved will change because it has to.
Yep.
But there's not going to be a press release anytime soon where any one of these major touring entities are just going to say, you know what, fuck it, we're done. Like,
Yep.
it's just not going to happen. It won't happen. Uh, I
If
mean,
I think if anything, we'll see another evolution similar to the FLW and to MLF. I can definitely see that change. I don't know if Bass would ever be brave enough to even go down a rename, rechange like that. I mean, they do open up so much more tournaments now with the high school series, the college series, the kayak series, and their elite series. It's a lot. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but what you were saying is like, yeah, there's definitely going to be not changes, but bass fishing in general and its competitiveness and everything like that. I don't think is ever going to change, in any way, shape, or form. I think that video or the YouTubers and content creators that make those, I think they should, and they can't because it's clickbaity, but more so, my fantasy of competitive fishing and bass fishing, will it change? Yes, yes, yeah. Sadly, it will because everything changes. I'm pretty sure that landline that you were on at Mima's house is now in your pocket, and you look at it like every 5 minutes. Things have changed.
so then it opens the idea of like, well, what? Somebody might be asking the question, why does it matter? And at the grand scheme of things, it doesn't, because anybody that's watching this, you don't have to know or care about any of that stuff. You don't have to care about who's got sponsored by who broke the rules, who has the new boat wrap. That doesn't change your experience next time you go out and try to just enjoy your time. It does not matter. But the market trends, and it's still kind of in limbo post COVID, so to speak. But the things that you will have available to you, so your tools essentially, and the availability of certain things in the stores around you, are going to be based upon those brands, the people that support their brands and put their brands. When I say brands, I'm talking manufacturer brands, not personality brands. Like the pros, like they drive those trends and the things that you have access to. I get it. In the day and age of the internet, you can go on any website and you can order anything at any time, which is great. But like what you have available to you and what will become the things that are either at your local Walmart or tackle shop or whatever is based upon what is being pushed by the people that represent the big money. This is a $1 billion+ industry every single year, folks. So they got people in rooms forecasting, looking at charts, doing focus groups that can't even tie an improved clinch knot. are trying to figure out what is it that's going to make you wake up one day and go, you know what, I'm going to go to the shop before I go down to the lake, and here's what we want to make sure people are picking up and putting in their cart before they go to the checkout.
Facts.
And we won't get rid of that. We won't. So we have to at least pay attention to these things. Um, at least acknowledge them. You don't have to be influenced by any of it, but at least acknowledge its role in what happens next.
Yep.
And how it happens. Unless you make your own stuff, in which case, do your thing. Good luck.
How do you feel about the individual bait making community? Do you think that within the few years, just this is just me thinking of tariffs and things happening in the future, do you think we'll start seeing more bait makers? I guess we could probably task this for another conversation for another day because we are getting close. But do you think in the next like 2 years, with things are like evolving, we'll start seeing more homemade bait makers rather than store bought items?
Folks that have really got to the point where they've mastered their craft and are really good at like creating functional items. You could refer to them as master baiters. It's one of those type of deals where the bulk of the market, the majority of the market, 51% or more, a preponderance of the market, as we may refer to it, will always be the big name brands. At all times. It will never not be that way.
Gotcha.
But the folks that are what we might refer to as enthusiasts, so not hobbyists, not the dude that just has like the rod in the back corner of the garage that, the line is probably old enough to like vote. Those dudes, and I respect them. This isn't shade. This isn't a disrespect based situation. Those folks will always be there, and they will all like. I worked at a Dick's Sporting Goods here in Virginia Beach, and like I would have people come in. I worked in the lodge section, which was like where your camping, hunting, and fishing stuff was.
Yeah.
So people would come in and like, I want to go fishing. I'm like, great. What is it you're trying to catch? Because I'm going to put you toward gear that's going to help you. If you're going to be at a pond, that's a lot different than if you're going to be at the pier.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure folks were leaving with the right gears, and they would just say, "Well, here's what I'm thinking about going after." I'm like, "All right, cool." And I say, "Well, what's your budget?" You know what I mean? Because now you gotta be helpful.
Yep.
And there's different options. So it was one of those things where people would come in, and I would have a few people that would say, "You know what? I don't really have a budget. I don't want stuff I'm not going to need, but like, what do you think is going to be best, and I'll pay what it takes."
Yeah.
Great. Those people will always exist. And therefore, the big brands will always exist because some people just don't give a shit. They want to go to the store, they want to pick up, what they need, and they want to go use it.
Facts. I got you.
Great. Those folks help make it to where I can go and still pay, $5 for a bag of Senkos and not 25, and that's fine. But given the amount of folks, and I'm biased because I do make some stuff now, like. We can't make line, can't really make reels. You can put together rods. Terminal can be kind of fashioned, but like you can get it in bulk. The fact is, like, one of the reasons I can even consider myself so interested in doing a lot of this stuff is the fact that, like, there's always something that you can do. There's always options. There's always a different size. There's always a different color. There's content creators on these platforms as well as others. They're making stuff. They're making brands. They're putting together lures. I've literally got like my dude DPO, Double Play Outdoors. He hooked me up with some stuff.
Oh, DPO.
You can't go in a store and buy this because he made it. Because he sat down with his time and his tools and he made it. And I can appreciate that because I spent a lot of time making stuff, and I know that at the end of the day, these fish are stupid. I get that. You can wacky rig a fucking black and mild, they're going to hit it. I'm cool with that. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be rewarding, in my opinion, to sit down, craft something, say, I want it this size, I want it to make it this sound, I want it to do this in the water because it's going to have this color. And that just makes it more to where it's more entertaining. That's going to make me say, well, shit, I need to upgrade my reel. I need to upgrade my rod. I need to go get the better line. And that allows things to continue because I think that those grassroots people that are getting it done in their garages all the time are the folks that have to care, because if you kind of rely upon like the pros and the branding and the social media, it's very easy to get complacent and to get frustrated with something that's not supposed to be frustrating at all.
Facts.
So the folks that are getting it done day in and day out and putting their time and effort to make cool shit because they want other people to appreciate the stuff that they've made, allow it. So I don't get complacent and say, fuck all this noise, I'm going to go golf.
Yeah.
And we need that.
Yep.
Like that helps this survive. And I appreciate like the people that come into our chats when we do our live streams. Like I don't live stream because I need to do it to fish. Like I will fish without y'all. Like dead ass. I'm not saying I don't care about my people, but like if I want to go fish somewhere and I don't have reception to stream, I don't care. I'm going.
Yep.
And y'all can watch the GoPro footage later. But it's nice to know that there's folks that understand that if you don't have the ability to interact like with you and myself or whoever, whatever you want to call it, because if you're only kind of digesting the media and the content created by people that are, you know, brand focused, you're going to get complacent, man. You're going to be arguing with people in chats about who's better, Shimano or Daiwa. Who fucking cares?
No.
It's your money. Spend it the way you want to. The one that you can afford and you find comfortable, that's the better one.
Plot
Every
twist.
single time.
Both are made in Taiwan, probably down the street from each other, or in the same building. Plot twist.
It is what it is. I don't mean to get heated. I apologize for the language, but it's like if you care more, or if you have an emotional attachment to the logo on the side of your gear, I'm not convinced you're setting yourself up to have fun and enjoy yourself.
Facts.
I don't see how you can. I'm not saying it's not important to have preferences, because that I can respect that, but at what cost?
Yep.
I don't know. What about you? I mean, how's your? I mean, you're obviously on the water a lot more than myself, so you're probably harder on your gear. You have higher demands of your gear, and you're going to different bodies of water where you need to have different options. So like there might be times where you got to run to the tackle shop and you got to buy what's on the shelf because you need it now. You can't like put in an order and wait a month later kind of thing. I imagine it's kind of like what I need now is gonna, you know, I know the pros go to tackle shop still, right? They still spend money on stuff they're not sponsored by. So how much of a influence do you think you find when it comes to like the homemade grassroots stuff versus the big name brand multi-million-dollar conglomerations, and what that impact is on your day-to-day stuff?
Like, so for the most part, thanks for that hype train. Fuzzy, thanks for the raid. Jamurai, thank you so much for the resub. I'll throw that out there before we get into it. But yeah, for the most part, my thought process, especially when my thought process as a consumer and an angler, if I can support homemade local or the homies, always first. If the homies or local or sponsors don't have said item, gotta go to. So I always put it in a hierarchy of availability to, my situation. I really hate. So CBC for perfect example. If I go to the store and I already know that they have robo worms, and I don't have a tournament, so we'll just assume there's no tournament, and I'm out of robo worms or I'm out of magic worms, I have to run inventory on CBC, see if he has it, give him a call, if he has any extra packs laying around. That has to go first. If it's not there, then free for all. If I'm at the tackle shop and I see it, I'm grabbing it. So on and so forth with a lot of my stuff. But if it's tournament time and say I got a day to get the stuff, and it's, well, shit, if CBC has it, I'm already making the run. It didn't even matter. Our Falls Lake tournament, literally, the tournament was 2 days after I was practicing, and I knew I needed the fidget missile bait shaky head, and I knew I needed the magic worm, and I needed riot batons for wackies. As I'm on the water, getting off the water, I send them a text. Hey, you got these? I just looked at inventory. You got them. I'd like to come by and buy them. I'm gone. Literally, after I got off the lake, went straight over there. But I wholeheartedly believe supporting the homies in local business and people that are not heavy influenced by the market, just people that you know are kind of locked into what they're doing. It's just like you were saying with DPO. DPO isn't watching the Bassmaster live and following every angler out there. He is a very focused oriented, likes what he likes and knows what he wants to do, and the man is locked into his craft. And just like you said, you have to, as soon as you see those paint jobs, you're like, bro, when is this dropping? Can I get that? Gotta support him instantly. Same thing. CBC used to do his painting. I probably got two or three of his lures. No, I only got one of his lures. I gave one away. But when he was molding plastics, he had this one swim bait. I can't remember what it was kind of similar to. I can't throw him. I've had him for 5 years. I can't throw him. I will not throw him because I know he's not going to make him anymore. So that thought process, loyalty, and appreciation for sponsors, homies, friends that are creating stuff, it outweighs everything. For me, that has to hit first before I decide to do anything else when it comes to fishing, because the enthusiasm, the love for it, and then the wanting to create your own thing. I don't know, that kind of art form is shit. I can't compare it to anything. I just understand that for you to want to go fishing and say, hey, I see this bait, I want to make something like it, but I want to put my own twist to it. I know what colors I want that this thing doesn't have, and then I want to create it, and then you create this thing, and then you put it out in the water, and it works. That's a different feeling. That's an art form that's like viable, and yeah, I've always respected that. I've always respected that.
So some of y'all one of y'all got to figure out how to make some monofilament line. Get you an extraction machine, so I can just buy y'all shit. And if some of y'all can make some reels that aren't made of plastic entirely, I'm down to at least check them out.
Oh man!
And this, I mean, there's always, product development is always going to be a thing. I remember, like, literally back in, it was probably 99. Bassmaster had the annual like new product thing, which was kind of like the magazine version of iCast. Like, here's all the new shit coming out from all the major manufacturers, and it was
prototypes
like
and everything
chance to get to know what's coming out, because there was no YouTube, there's no social media. So if you wanted to know what was coming out new, you were at the trade shows, or you got your annual Bassmaster new product showcase magazine. And I went through, and like, it had to be at least 15 to 20 companies that I thought that I liked. They would have their mailing address. I sent letters to 15 to 20 of these companies introducing myself. And at the time I was like 11.
Yep.
Like, hey, I live in Virginia. I fish, for largemouth mainly. If there's anything that y'all got that I wasn't asking for free shit. I was basically like, is there anything like new that I can field test for you? I can give you feedback. You know what I mean? Basically saying, I'm your target audience. If y'all can give me something to work with, I'll pay for it. And so I'm just sending them out, just dropping them off at the mailbox. And this was 99. So the question is, did anybody write back? Not yet. Kind of losing hope. So maybe.
Oh no! There's ghosted my boy T.
I wanted to be a part of that process. So now that you can watch live streams of people making stuff and painting stuff, and I make stuff here too. I don't live stream it because y'all stress me out, but like, really being able to like sit down and say like, oh, I really wish I could get a jig in this color with this size and this profile and this, you know what I mean? Like, instead of going, man, I wish I could get it, I can just go, I'm going to go make about 20 of them real quick, because everything's in bulk, right? You can't just make 3 jigs. Like, you're making 40 pretty quickly. It just makes it makes it exciting to the point where, like, some people know, like, I've just mailed out a bunch of stuff. I don't want to sell them. Like, some people can make money out of the garage, and that's great. I don't care enough to want to do that. But like, I don't need 300 jigs, unfortunately. So I'd rather just kind of like mail them out to the homies.
Yeah, let's talk about those. It's all about them 5/16 Ned rigs with EWG, the
Yo,
T Neds.
the doohickey, which is that bladed jig hybrid thing that
Uh,
I experienced, the doohickey. Um, we're getting feedback. They're catching smallmouth in Indiana.
they
I've
second
got a
cast.
ton of
I got a 5 pound 8 ouncer second cast.
but I mean, how cool is it to? I'm biased to take something that I'm in here fucking cussing myself, burning myself with second-degree burns on the lead pot, and turning it into somebody going out, tying it on, and go catching. Like to me, it doesn't get any better. You know what I mean? Like the experience to me, it's like that's the reward. Because I don't want your money, I want your feedback. You know what I mean? Like that's what I get excited about, just as somebody who makes stuff. And like TPO, master of his craft, Swan Bottom. I know Banana mentioned him, great dude, makes great stuff. Like there are dudes that are making stuff in their garage right now as we speak that will catch any fish that you would ever want to
Whatever.
catch. Because
Facts.
remember, they don't care where you bought it from, what name was on it. They kind of care what it smells like, but other than that, they don't care. So again, the game itself has not changed, but the way that the game influences how you go about it has to change. It will
Facts.
continue to change. And if you're aware of these things, you will increase your likelihood of not getting stressed out, being motivated. I saw Fuzz, they call me Fuzz rated. Y'all, I would not be here. Not literally, I'd be here, but like I wouldn't be like all these things that you see, my names that you see, like the name, your boy T came from Fuzz. Fuzz inspired that name. Like you all probably with if it wasn't for Fuzz and like a couple other people, none of you all would know who I am.
Facts.
And it's because of like the people that come into these broadcasts and watch our streams. Those folks are who I pay attention to usually. You know, y'all's presence is bigger than any brands.
Facts.
I would rather watch a D Money stream, a Sea Dice stream, a Banana Set stream, than a Scott Martin live stream. I'm not saying I don't give a shit about Scott Martin, but like what he does doesn't influence or doesn't have any impact on what I do or how I do it. But I can't, like, y'all are awesome because you're doing the same thing that I'm doing. Y'all got the same stressors probably that I do, but you still want to go goddamn catch a fish, and I can respect that because I'm trying to do it too. That's relatable. That's on the level of what I got. So like that's important. Obviously, there's going to be personalities. There's going to be brands. There's going to be folks that are trying to turn it into more than a hobby, and that's absolutely fine. There are so many people on these platforms that create this kind of content. If you don't like any of them, do not waste your time. Just go find somebody else.
Facts.
Keep looking. There's so many people. They have so many options. Just go spend your time, your viewership, your subscriptions, your bits, your hype trains. Go spend it on the people that you enjoy.
Yep.
And if it ain't me, that's fine. That's cool. If it ain't Alex, that's cool.
Facts.
If it's neither of us, why are you here? But the point being is go spend your time, your energy with the people that you like, you relate to, and want to support. And that's fine. Unless it's pointless casserole. But don't worry about that.
Damn. PC about to join the pedal gang real soon. He's upgrading.
So yeah, I mean that's those trends and the people, and why we wanted this show to be more interactive is because like y'all have valid concerns and valid as a viewer, as a person that spends their money, as a person that wants to be aware,
valid experience.
Yep. Like those things, like you can go into my stream or an Alex on the water stream or most anybody here's stream, and you can ask a genuine question and get a genuine answer. Facts. I mean, we all are sarcastic. We do stupid jokes. We do talk about mustard-covered Crustables. The point being is,
it went viral.
At the end of the day, if you want to know something because you feel like it's important to you, you can get that information. And if the answer is I don't know, I don't know. So I have no brands. I have no sponsors. I have no, a reason to blow smoke. It is what it is. It ain't what it ain't. It's real life, So when I'm out there, if I get 5 hours in a week, brother, I want to get me as many bites as I can in 5 hours in a week.
Facts.
Okay. And you might only get 3 hours. I would rather you spend those 3 hours really increasing your chances of getting bites than going home and wishing, damn, I wish I would have thrown the
Yep.
helicopter lure, because
Yep.
that's really what it's about.
Facts. I wish I would have thrown. Damn. Hit you on the car ride home. Can't be like that in life.
Then you just go back next week and you try it again,
Yes,
but you
sir.
realize all the conditions have
Conditions have
changed. It just
changed.
came through,
Yep. Completely
and
different.
it's a problem.
You can't do. Oh man, if I go home with oof, that was my first year of tournament fishing. I feel that I've matured so much more in my thought processes and confidence, but that shit sucked. Oh yeah, so all I did was throw a chatterbait all day, and that's how I won $2,000 today. I had a chatterbait. I didn't throw it all dang day. I wish I would. Dang it! And that's so much regret. Bug Alex enough, he'll take you out to snipe beds. You didn't bug me. What? We went out because it was a good day, and we had a good day. Let me tell you about this guy, Pat. I was like, I'll probably have a tie on a free rig, and we're gonna work. Just some transition points. Maybe throw it on some beds. This man started bonking bedfish with a free rig and snatching them from their homes. Never, he's never bedfished before. He's never threw a free rig. My man was calling his shots, standing up in his damn boat. It was a proud moment, but then I actually got scared. I was like, this dude is pretty damn good at this. Hold on now, hold on. Yeah, he was sniping them off. That was pretty dope. Definitely cool to watch.
But see, now since they got his phone, they've been looking through his contacts, and they've been trying to get a nice FBI case on him.
Yep. Was it Steven Seagal? That man's marked for death.
It's all right. Just gotta get a new alias, witness protection. Hope you like speaking Espanol.
Oh man! All right, man. Shoot. I don't think we have any plans for the next show. I didn't even think of anything. Hopefully, nothing tragic happens between then and now. Golly. But yeah. So this week, just throwing it out there, this Saturday. I have a tournament, and then the following week, next week, I will have another tournament. That's the one that'll be in Virginia. So by the time our next show, I'll have tournament talk to talk about. But I mean, we can figure something else out.
So you gotta have all your trophies ready. So make sure you put the wide angle lens on, so that way we can see everything.
I definitely need to start putting up some of my actual achievements, but I haven't. They just sit in a corner collecting dust. Sadly, I apologize for all the.
Hell yeah.
That shit sucks. That shit definitely
sucks for everybody.
Yeah.
I still got my second grade report card.
Bro, there we go. Big moves.
Hell yeah.
Hey, Tatum, thank you so much, man. Good Jesus, 21 months.
The LeBron James of subscribers. Tatum coming through.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we try every couple weeks on Wednesdays. Kind of winging it. We got the Discord. Probably going to. I still want to get like a seminar vibe going to get people just get some people learning some things.
Nice.
But there is fun. There is a component of just winging it and learning on your own. But I get that. So maybe I'm thinking we could probably look at sooner than later. Like folks that want to do like the content creation thing, because might as well, right? Everybody's doing it. Just jump on board. What that looks like, some of the things to be aware of, or if there are questions about how to get into it, you can bring those. So that could be something, maybe not next time, but at least within the next couple episodes, kind of like content creation 101.
That would be dope.
Because everybody, the fishing's the same for the most part, but the personalities and some of y'all are pretty interesting just in the way that you type and chat. So I can't imagine, and I would like to have more evidence of what y'all are like from the personality perspective. just add it to the mix. You know what I mean? Like even if you don't want to create like a brand per se, but you just want to get some like if you're really happy about like how you fish spinner baits, I would love to hear you talk about them, right? Because I don't like them. So if I can watch you and listen to you go like, here's what I like to do, I'm down. You know what I mean? Because that might fire me up and go, hell yeah, we're about to go fucking make it work.
He
And then other,
said
like
his spinner baits.
enthusiasm is contagious, is what I guess I'm trying to say. So like,
Facts.
if y'all got it, bring it. Like this is completely open. Whatever your skill level is, your knowledge, like just bring it to the table. Shoot a little clip, and even if it's just something you wanted to host on like a YouTube or whatever, and we can put it in the Discord, we can share it for an episode, just for the sake of seeing what you're working with. Like that would be amazing. Like I'm not an expert in anything. So like if you fucking really like drop shotting, I want to see how you do it because I want to get better. And if you got some skills I don't, hell yeah, let's do it.
I agree. We'll definitely try to create I guess we'll call it maybe look at me type of channel in Discord, or look what I can do type of channel. We could do like tutorials and things like just content, man. It's hard to start, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of people need to understand. Content creation is very hard to start and stay with. It's easier when you have people around you that content create just for inspiration and just to keep you kind of fresh in the thought process of going at it. So it's not easy. I'll say that from my side. And it's easier with a community. So that's pretty much what I'm getting at. And I'm pretty sure underlying that's what Steve's saying. It's just, yeah, if you guys got stuff to show, go ahead, throw it in here. If you guys got thinking about starting a channel, if you're thinking about doing a YouTube, start it as fast as possible. The amount of bad videos you put out will only increase if you don't put out videos. You can only get better if you keep doing it. Yeah, we already talked about the Alabama situation. We did a moment of silence for it. That was it. We didn't really talk.
Yeah, it's acknowledged. There's plenty of other breakdowns of the situation, but I mean, yeah. No, it's not easy to start. We'll probably do. We should do a full like content creation episode.
Yep.
Just to kind of look at what that looks like. I can definitely say a real quick preview is, shockingly enough, people don't really seem to give a shit about like fishing as much as like gear.
Yep.
All of my heavy view videos are gear related because before people spend money, they want to see what they're spending money on. Once you have like a established following, they are more likely to watch you like fish. But right now, it's like stuff.
Yep.
So that's a thing. But we'll go more into why that probably is, and other things to kind of keep in mind, especially like some of the graphic stuff. I've been editing. You can't tell, but I've been doing video editing since like 2004. And I know enough to just get me in trouble, so I can definitely share with y'all some tips just to be aware of. And gear stuff like cameras, like we can look at all the tech stuff, so that way you're not just buying a bunch of stuff that's going to sit and collect dust like half of my shit. And we'll see. Like it's a forest out there, so we'll give you a flashlight so you can peer through it a little bit easier, sooner than later.
Facts. All right, I mean,
until then,
yes, sir. We got to roll. Y'all have a great night, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever y'all are at, man. T, great show. Everybody, pat yourself on the back. We did great today.
Everybody. That's where it's at. Get a little clap. Yeah. Hey.
There you go. Yeah, all right. Y'all have a great night. Talk to y'all later. Shit, I'll see some of y'all tomorrow. I got dang practice again. Ugh.
Levi, appreciate you, man. No, y'all keep your stick on the ice. Quickest way to end up last is not putting safety first. Per use.
Big huge.
Remember, hook sets are free. For now.
Yep, for now.